Hello, I'm Duane and this is Sharon. We are your ambassador coordinators or resource coordinators for ambassadors. You have made a decision, a commitment to share the gospel with Muslims and to form Christ-centered friendships with them. So we have a couple of really quick ideas for you about how to start conversations with Muslims and how to get to know Muslims in your area.
The first one has to do with meeting a woman. So generally, you've heard this before, we stay men with men for reaching out, women with women for reaching out. And as a woman, if you see a Muslim woman with a baby, either at the park or at the grocery store or something like that, you can go up and compliment their baby and say what a beautiful baby it is, what's his or her name, um, things like that. Do you have any other children? Things like that, just to start a conversation. If the woman doesn't speak any English or speaks very little English, you can usually use the phrase, mashallah. Mashallah. What that literally translates to is what God has willed, but it's very much just a way of congratulating new parents on their new baby.
Oftentimes, if you want to meet Muslims, you need to be proactive. So one thing that you can do is find any kind of ministry or organization that works with international students. Anytime you have a thing for international students, maybe it's language partner. There was a church in Denver once that I partnered with, where they would have a once a week meal for international students. Whenever you're going to be dealing with international students, you are going to find a lot of Muslims there. So just figure out where your local universities and colleges are, Google international ministry or international student help, and you're going to find some way to get involved in the lives of local Muslims. Another way that you can get to know local Muslims is if you're at a coffee shop or a tea shop or a tea house or something like that, especially one of the ethnic ones. If you see someone reading a book, just ask them, or a magazine or newspaper, just say, may I ask, what are you reading about? This is the same question that Philip asked the Ethiopian, what are you reading? And one time I did that. I saw this young guy, he had a big book, and I said, hey, can I ask you what you're reading? He said, well, I'm doing this. It was a book to prepare for an exam, to get into an academic program. I said, oh, I did my master's degree, and we started talking. We got to know each other, and he became a person of peace, and he introduced me to probably half a dozen of his friends from Iraqi and Afghanistani or Afghani backgrounds. So that was just one question I asked him. He didn't think it was weird or strange, and it was very welcomed.
One of the things we've encountered and we're very sympathetic to are the differences in how grocery stores are laid out in the US versus other countries. So sometimes, especially if there is a Muslim that's new to the neighborhood or new to the country, they might be wandering around the grocery store with a look on their face of being overwhelmed or just confusion, because the things that we think make sense don't always make sense to them, and vice versa, just because of cultural differences and how you use things. So if you see a Muslim in the grocery store that is having trouble finding things, you can just go up to them and say, can I help you find something? And start up a conversation that way. What are you looking for? Also, it's good if you know of any Middle Eastern markets that are in your neighborhood. We've got one that's not too far. It's about a 20-minute drive from where we are. And it's a great place to send them if they want specific stuff. I remember helping an Afghani woman one time, and she was looking for halal meat, which is meat that's prepared according to the Islamic tradition. And I knew where the halal butcher was, and so I was able to help her in Spain get to the halal butcher and get the things that she needed.
Well, thank you very much, ambassadors. We love the work that you're doing. May God bless you. May God keep you. May God give you boldness. May God give you creativity. And may He open paths for forming Christ-centered friendships so that you can share the love of God in Christ with Muslims all around the world and in your neighborhood especially. If you have any questions or comments or concerns for future episodes or issues of Ambassador Notes, leave them in the comments below, and I will either answer them in the comments, or we might use those for a future episode of Ambassador Notes. Thank you.